What if the biggest lie in your life is the person you see in the mirror every day? What if the anxiety, exhaustion, and emptiness you feel are not caused by the world, but by the constant act of pretending? Lao Tzu once warned that people suffer the most when they abandon their true nature. Yet most people never realize they are wearing a mask until life begins to break them apart. You smile when you are hurting. You say I'm fine when you feel lost. You chase success, approval, and validation, hoping one day it will finally make you feel enough. But deep inside, there is a quiet truth you keep avoiding. A truth so uncomfortable that you distract yourself just to escape it. And the terrifying part is this: the longer you run from that truth, the further you drift away from yourself. Tonight, you may finally understand why your soul has been feeling so heavy. There is a truth about yourself you keep avoiding, and deep down, you already know what it is. Every time life becomes quiet, every time you sit alone at night with your thoughts, it slowly rises to the surface. But instead of facing it, you distract yourself. You open your phone. You chase entertainment. You stay busy. Because the truth is painful. Lao Tzu believed that most human suffering begins the moment people disconnect from their true nature. And maybe the reason you feel mentally exhausted all the time is not because life is hard, but because pretending to be someone else is slowly destroying you from within. From childhood, you were taught how to perform. You learned which version of yourself people accepted and which version they rejected. Maybe you learned that showing emotion made you weak. Maybe you learned that being quiet made you invisible. Maybe you learned that love only came when you achieved something. So without realizing it, you created a mask. A personality designed for survival. And over the years, that mask became your identity. People praised it. They admired it. But while everyone was loving the character you created, the real you was quietly disappearing underneath it. This is why so many people feel empty even after success. They finally get the money, the attention, the relationship, or the recognition they once dreamed about, yet something still feels missing. Why? Because achievements cannot heal a person who is disconnected from themselves. Lao Tzu taught that nature never forces itself. Rivers flow naturally. Trees grow naturally. But humans force everything. Forced happiness. Forced confidence. Forced lifestyles. And eventually the soul becomes tired of carrying a life that does not feel real anymore. One painful truth many people avoid is this: they are living for approval, not for themselves. Almost every decision they make is secretly controlled by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being seen as a failure. Even their dreams are often borrowed from society. They chase careers they hate, relationships that drain them, and lifestyles that impress strangers but leave them emotionally empty. Then one day they wake up and realize they have spent years building a life that looks good from the outside while collapsing internally. The most dangerous thing about pretending is that eventually you forget who you really are. You become so busy trying to meet everyone's expectations that you lose connection with your own voice. And silence becomes terrifying because silence exposes truth. The moment the distractions disappear, you begin hearing the emotions you buried for years: loneliness, regret, sadness, anger. But beneath all that pain is an even deeper realization: the life you are living may not actually belong to you. That realization alone is enough to shake a person's entire identity. Life has a strange way of forcing people to face themselves. Sometimes through heartbreak. Sometimes through failure. Sometimes through losing everything they thought defined them. Taoism teaches that destruction is often the beginning of awakening. When life removes your distractions, you are finally left alone with yourself. And for many people, that becomes the most uncomfortable moment of their existence. Because they realize they do not know who they are without achievement, validation, or external attention. They built their entire identity around being needed, admired, or accepted. The truth you may be unwilling to accept is that your suffering is not always caused by the world around you. Much of it comes from the war happening inside you. You want peace, but you refuse to let go of control. You want love, but you hide your true self out of fear. You want freedom, yet you constantly seek permission from others before making decisions. This inner conflict creates exhaustion. Not physical exhaustion, but spiritual exhaustion. The kind of tiredness sleep cannot fix. Lao Tzu believed that true strength comes from softness, honesty, and surrender. But modern society teaches the opposite. People are taught to suppress emotions, compete endlessly, and hide vulnerability. So they build emotional walls around themselves and slowly become numb. They smile while suffering internally. They say I'm okay when they are falling apart. And over time, they become strangers to themselves. The saddest part is that many people spend their entire lives this way without ever realizing how disconnected they truly are. Healing begins the moment you stop running from yourself. The moment you become honest about what hurts you, what drains you, and what no longer feels real. That honesty is painful because it may require letting go of old identities, relationships, and beliefs you carried for years. But Lao Tzu understood something powerful. You cannot become who you are meant to be while clinging to who you pretend to be. Every false layer must eventually fall apart. The ego fears this process because it feels like death. But in reality, it is freedom. Perhaps the greatest truth you have been unwilling to accept is this: you were never meant to spend your life proving your worth to the world. Like the river, like the sky, like nature itself, your existence already has value. You do not need to perform to deserve peace. You do not need to become someone else to be worthy of love. The real battle was never against the world, it was against the false version of yourself you created out of fear. And the moment you stop running, stop pretending, and finally face yourself honestly, something incredible happens. For the first time in your life, you begin to feel free. Before you leave, ask yourself one question: what truth about yourself have you been running from for years? Sometimes the hardest battle is not against the world, but against the version of ourselves we pretend to be. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, then this is not a coincidence, it is a sign that your awakening has already begun. Which part of this video hit you the hardest? Which truth felt painfully real to you? Share your thoughts in the comments, because someone reading your words might realize they are not alone in their struggle. And if you want more deep teachings inspired by Lao Tzu, Taoism, inner peace, and powerful psychological truths that help you understand yourself and the world differently, make sure to subscribe and join this journey. Your mind can either remain a prison, or become your greatest source of freedom. The choice begins now.